Alright, let's dive into something that's both fascinating and a bit alarming. Have you ever thought about how the air you breathe could be influencing your health in ways you'd never expect? I'm talking about rheumatoid arthritis, RA, a condition that affects millions globally, and a recent study that's turning heads in the medical community. Here's the kicker: air pollution, specifically fine particulate matter like PM 2.5, might be driving disease activity spikes and flare risks in RA patients. Personally, I think this is a game changer because it shifts the conversation from just genetics and lifestyle to something as omnipresent as the air we breathe. What makes this really interesting is how specific the findings are. The study, published in the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases, tracked over 1,000 RA patients in South Korea over 4 years. They found a clear link between higher PM 2.5 levels and increased disease activity. Now, if you take a step back and think about it, PM 2.5 particles are tiny, smaller than red blood cells. They can slip into your bloodstream, travel to distant organs, and trigger inflammation. This isn't just about joint pain, it's about systemic inflammation that could be exacerbated by something as invisible as air pollution. One thing that immediately stands out is the broader implications of this research. Dr. Jeffrey A. Sparks pointed out that this could offer new ways to manage RA flares, like avoiding poor air quality. But here's where it gets even more intriguing: if air pollution affects RA, what other autoimmune diseases might be influenced by environmental factors? This raises a deeper question: how much of our health is actually within our control when external factors like air quality play such a significant role? From my perspective, this study is a wake-up call for policymakers and healthcare providers. Dr. Eun-Bon Lee, the lead investigator, recommended that RA patients avoid prolonged exposure to high PM 2.5 levels. But let's be real, avoiding air pollution isn't always feasible, especially in urban areas. This highlights the need for systemic changes to improve air quality, not just for RA patients but for everyone. What many people don't realize is that environmental factors like these are often modifiable, meaning we have the power to reduce their impact if we act collectively. A detail I find fascinating is the methodology of the study. They used a case crossover design to control for confounding factors, which adds a layer of robustness to their findings. But here's the catch: the study was conducted in South Korea, with a specific genetic and environmental context. As the editor-in-chief, Dr. Joseph Smolin, pointed out, we need more research to see if these findings hold true globally. This isn't just about validating the results, it's about understanding how different populations might be affected differently. If you think about it, this study is part of a bigger trend in environmental medicine, where researchers are increasingly linking health outcomes to climate and pollution. Harmful substances in the air, water, and soil are no longer just environmental issues, they're public health crises. What this really suggests is that treating diseases like RA might require a more holistic approach, one that considers both the patient and their environment. Personally, I think this research is just the tip of the iceberg. It opens up so many questions. Could improving air quality reduce the burden of autoimmune diseases? How can we better integrate environmental factors into healthcare? And most importantly, what does this mean for the millions of people living in areas with poor air quality? So, here's my closing thought: the air we breathe isn't just a background element of our lives, it's a critical factor in our health. This study is a reminder that we need to think bigger, act smarter, and advocate for changes that protect not just our lungs, but our entire bodies. What do you think? Is air pollution something we've been overlooking in the fight against chronic diseases? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to hear your thoughts.